Welcome to College Football Talk on Versus.
Hey, everybody. Welcome into Liam McHugh alongside former Princeton Tiger Ross Tucker. Princeton, still a member of the Ivy League at this point, right? Not realigning at this point?
No. Last time I checked, we're still in the Ivy League. And considering I think the Ivy League's been around for like, 300 years, I think we're safe.
It's good news. Stay strong. All right, Ross, let's go back to the #1 ranked team, the Sooners. I think we knew they had a championship caliber offense. Landry Jones, Ryan Broyles. How much did their defense impress you?
Unbelievably, because as you said, that's always been the Achilles heel for the Sooners, especially in recent years. But if you watch them, Brent Venables' crew, they were all over E.J. Manuel. He brought pressure all night long. If it wasn't Tom Ward, it was Travis Lewis. Very impressive for the Sooners, especially doing that on the road. Absolutely. I mean, I still think Jarrett Lee's going to be a pro quarterback, but in terms of getting it done, like they need to get it done, he can do it. This is their recipe for success. Play defense, run the football, and Jarrett Lee just needs to manage the game and throw touchdown passes like that every once in a while.
Down in South Beach, it was bottle service over body art as Miami beat down the Buckeyes 24-6. All right, as they get closer to full strength here, how good can Al Golden's team be?
I think they can be as good as anybody in the ACC. They have been recruiting talent year in and year out. That's the one thing that Randy Shannon was able to do. Talent like number 6, Lamar Miller. This guy looked like he was significantly faster than anybody else on the field. He was the difference maker in this game for the Hurricanes.
And, of course, with that loss, the Ohio State. Is this really a top 10 team, this Oregon team?
I think so, because I'm not a big believer in dropping a team all that much because they lose one game, especially when they challenge a non-conference game like LSU. I mean, if we want teams to play those games that we all love watching at the start of the year, the Boise State-Georgia game, the LSU-Oregon game, then I don't think we can hurt them too much and drop them in the polls too much by losing a game like that.
Let's go back to the polls right now. Speaking of, so some seismic shifts going on right here. A lot of people are going to be pointing fingers, getting angry. I remember I was up in Syracuse when Boston College bolted for the ACC. A lot of angry Cuse fans then. Now Syracuse is gone. Can you blame any of these schools, though?
No, but my head hurts right now. I mean, I feel like my head's spinning with all this stuff. And, you know, the first thing I think is the same thing I said last week, which I just think it's unfortunate that this is what we're talking about right now during the season. However, I don't blame Syracuse and Pitt at all. They didn't start this thing, but they don't want to be left holding the bag. They want to make sure that they have an opportunity when this whole thing comes to an end.
And it's interesting because we hear, I mean, let's face it, it's about TV revenue, but academics playing a role also. So.
Yeah, that's kind of laughable to me. I mean, is academics really an important part of this? I think that's something that some of the school presidents will pay lip service to. I have a hard time believing that that's really what we're talking about here, and that's what really is important.
Good stuff still to come. We'll hear from Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly. The Irish beat down the Spartans 31-13 on Saturday. Pitt's ahead, but let's take things back to Michigan State. Tommy Rees, the quarterback, 2 more turnovers in that first quarter. That gave him 7 turnovers in 7 quarters of play. But he responded. He bounced back. What'd you say?
Well, what I love about Tommy Rees is he almost got like the mentality of a cornerback. He'd get those turnovers, he just pushes it aside, and he's still going to stick it in there. He's got that spunk, that confidence to make the big plays at the exact right times. Look at on this play. He had Theo Riddick underneath, wide open, but he elected to go deep for the touchdown to T.J. Jones. Most quarterbacks would have made the underneath throw. He went one-on-one deep in the corner, able to get the touchdown they needed right at the clutch time. That's what they love about him. Tommy's not afraid to make those throws. Most other quarterbacks make the safe throw. Tommy's not safe. Sometimes it's hurt him, but that time it helped him.
If you're going to be the Notre Dame quarterback, you cannot be afraid. Having a little swagger. You're going to be under the microscope. That swagger will probably be advantageous for you. Let's talk about the defense. So, okay, we all remember the Michigan game. That fourth quarter, secondary was exploited, and they collapsed down the stretch. But 13 points given up to Michigan State, a pretty good offense. This Notre Dame defense in the secondary, who impressed you?
Well, I'll start with Harrison Smith. I mean, in general, that was the theme of this game to me about Notre Dame was the resiliency. Harrison Smith was all over the place as a deep half safety. But how about Robert Blanton? I mean, Robert Blanton, I thought Mike Mayock did a fantastic job during the NBC telecast naming Blanton as the player of the game. He was everywhere. Look at him in the backfield on some plays. Obviously, the critical interception at the end of the game, picking off Kirk Cousins. Blanton ended up being the playmaker that the Irish really needed last week against Michigan.
And it was a total team effort for Notre Dame. They dominate on offense, defense. They get a touchdown on special teams as well. Still to come, what Saturday statistics shocked us, and an unsung hero gets some pub. We go 4 downs with Roland Williams next. grow. Let's play some overtime right here. And let's start with Texas and UCLA. Did you feel like you were having flashbacks when you saw some of the names out there?
It's like somehow I went into some type of hot tub time machine. It's so unbelievable to me to see McCoy throwing to Shipley. Instead, it's not Colt to Jordan, it's Case to Jackson. Really unbelievable. You know, they've been trying to find a quarterback at Texas for a couple years now, ever since Colt left. And here's the guy, Case McCoy. He even plays like it's his brother, moving around, athletic, in space. I think he's going to be the guy going forward with how he played on Saturday against UCLA.
Will Muschamp and the Florida Gators, they win their first SEC game. They beat down Tennessee. But how much credit needs to go to his offensive coordinator, Charlie Weis?
I think a lot. I mean, they've got all kinds of talent on the defensive side of the ball. But how about what they did offensively? Charlie Weis's system is tailor-made for John Brantley. This is the type of offense John Brantley should be in. Short, controlled passing game to guys like this. Chris Rainey, are you kidding me with how fast this guy's? How much fun must football be for this guy? I have no idea what it would be like to just be faster than everybody else on the field. That's like my dream.
No, and it doesn't even look like he's running hard out there. It's so smooth that he just kicks it into another gear.
Well, and Jeff Demps as well. And Charlie Weis is smart enough to know, get the ball to those guys in space and let them do things with it.
Talked about most impressive players. Who is maybe the most overlooked player? Possibly someone for the Big East.
I'd say Geno Smith from West Virginia. And he's going to have a big one on Saturday night against LSU. But Geno Smith, he is flourishing in Dana Holgerson's offense. Everybody knows he's athletic, but look at the accuracy and the arm strength. He is not just a quarterback that can run with it. Look at how pinpoint he is with all his precision. And I really think, Liam, that if he plays well Saturday night, and I know nobody thinks this will happen, but if they were able to upset the Bayou Bengals, the LSU Tigers, we'd have to put Geno Smith near the top of the Heisman race.
Absolutely. Considering how good that defense is, you just heard Roland, he'd be up there. And that's a beautiful segue, because still to come, with 3 weeks in the book, our awards gurus will handicap the Heisman race. Plus, we celebrate the 4-year anniversary of one of the greatest rants in college football history.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40! Write something about me.
So with the show winding down, it's time to take a look into the future, all the way to 5 days from now, Saturday. I mentioned he's the fearless forecaster. Let's get right into it. Let's start with the right in, 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 with the. The show to the future, all the way, days from Saturday. He's the fearless. Let's start. Greatest in college football history.
That's right. That's right.
For me!
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
About me.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
With the show, it's time to take to the future, all the way 5 days from now, Saturday. He's the fearless. Let's start with the greatest the show to the future, all the way 5 days from Saturday. Let's start with greatest in college football history.
For me! I'm about me.
With the show, it's time to take to the future, all the way 5 days from Saturday. He's the fearless. Let's start with the greatest in the show to the future, all the way 5 days from Saturday. Let's start with greatest in college football history.
For me. I'm about me.
With the show with the time to take to the future. Get all the way. Get 5 days from now. Get today. Get he's the fearless. Get let's get to let's start. Get greatest. Get greatest. Get greatest in football for the show, it's time to take to the future. All the way 5 days from now. Today, he's the fearless. Let's start. Greatest with the show, it's time to take.